What's going on, everyone? Welcome to The Drop. This is the official podcast of thedropnews.com. And yes, we are not recording our usual weekly thing. I mean, we are doing it this week, but just not today. If you don't know, or you've been living under a rock, you might know that Ben Affleck has stepped down from directing the Batman. Pretty much the internet is in flames, so we figured maybe it would be a good idea for us to discuss our thoughts and our feelings on this breaking news. And before we get started, let me introduce to you who will be joining me today on this little discussion. Up first, we have Colin Sapp. How you going, man? How are you going? I do that like almost every week. Jesus.
Oh, Lord. What's up, everybody? Let's get Dope Boy fresh, lit daddy dank, swag mama slick. Let's do this.
I'm not even going to respond to that. But also joining us back with us once again, David Hutchison is in the building. How's it going, man?
Hey, guys. DC is screwed. Can't wait to talk about it.
Well, I mean, oh my God, my phone just fell. I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, that's my own personal opinions. But actually, you know what, David? Let's go ahead and start with you because you were like the second person to ask me to do like one of these like quick little breaking news episodes. So why don't you kick us off? What are your thoughts on Ben Affleck leaving the director's chair of the Batman?
This was our last hope, Josh. Josh, this was our last hope. After everything that's happened so far. Look, Man of Steel was great, okay? I like Man of Steel. Batman v Superman was pretty good. Suicide Squad sucked, okay? And then they announced this, like, Gotham City Sirens movie with Harley Quinn, okay? That was really random. And then they're like, okay, Cyborg's not happening anymore. Oh, I don't think it is. We've not heard anything about it. And then all of a sudden, Shazam's being split into two films. And everyone's like, okay, so DC doesn't know what they're doing. Okay, but you know what? At least the Batman will be good. Why? Because Ben Affleck's there. Not anymore, okay? He's not there anymore. He's gone. Well, I mean, he's still Batman, but he's not directing it. And I don't know, Josh. I'm worried. I try so hard to be optimistic about the DC Cinematic Universe or the Extended Universe or whatever they're calling it over there. I don't even think they know what it's called anymore. And this was the last thing that, this was the last hope that we had. This is the thing that was gonna, this was gonna be the best, potentially the best film of the DC Cinematic Universe, and now that's gone. Colin, over to you.
Well, all right, yeah. Basically, I'm just gonna somewhat echo what David just said. I think the DC as a whole, they have no idea how to run. The WB has no idea how to run the DC comics because, as David said, you had Man of Steel, which I love that movie. I love it to death. Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, no, and then you had The Flash, of course, has lost 3 directors now. First it was Phil Lord, Chris Miller, then Seth Grahame-Smith, then Rick Famuyiwa. Before Patty Jenkins, there was another female director attached to Wonder Woman. They lost her. Then they got Patty Jenkins. Luckily, she stayed on. And Cyborg, haven't even heard anything about that. Shazam is getting 2 movies.
I'm pretty sure the movie's not even happening.
Yeah, I know. Like that's. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not. Honestly, I don't want it. But the only director to stay on a project right now for a DC solo film is James Wan for Aquaman, and even he had rumors earlier, like a few months ago, about him leaving the project, but he debunked those rather quickly. But this kind of, it was, David said it very well. It almost was the last hope for a lot of people. They're like, man, I'm so worried about all this, but we have Ben Affleck and he's directing the Batman movie. Granted, yes, he's writing the story, he's acting in it, he's executive producing, but. And he gave, what was the reasoning behind him again? It was like the pressure, people love the character so much. Isn't that it? Isn't that what they said?
Oh, why he stepped down?
Yeah, why?
No,
yeah, it's because
the reason why he said he stepped down is because he wouldn't be able to do all of those things to the kind of capacity that he would want to do them in.
Gotcha. Okay. See, now he said that, and everybody's like, oh, wow, that's actually a pretty legitimate excuse. I think what he said is probably the best thing he could have said, but I genuinely believe it is all bullshit. I think it is total nonsense. It's just what the people need to hear so people don't panic as much. I think WB has been doing what WB does best, and that's pestering the directors as much as possible. They need this, they need that. And they're trying to work so hard to get greatness that they're kind of just pushing it away, and they push away Ben Affleck from the director's seat. And then of course, you have the small rumor that Ben Affleck might not want any part to be with the role anymore, which I kind of believe, but we're not going to discuss that at the moment. But Ben Affleck, man, how do you screw that up? How do you screw that? You can't say because it's all the things he was doing, because look at all his past 2 films. The last film he did was directing and acting, and it won Best Picture. Or not Live by Night, but before that, Argo.
Yeah.
And then The Town, personally my favorite Ben Affleck movie, he directed and starred in that too. And it was fantastic. Just how, okay, let's go to Josh for a little ray of sunshine, can we? Josh, can you brighten us up?
I'm gonna have to completely disagree with most of the things you guys say. I honestly don't think it's a huge deal that Ben Affleck is leaving the director's chair, because if you think about it, a movie with the kind of scale of the Batman, it's ridiculous. This is a huge movie, and having anybody, not just Ben Affleck, having anybody try to be the main star of that movie and direct it and write it and produce it, that's a lot for one person to take on. So I think he's super excited about the Batman. He has a ton of faith in the actual project, but I think he realized maybe this is just a little too much. I can't step down as the character because I signed a contract. Exactly. He's not leaving the character, by the way, guys. So whoever is throwing that out there is just, I'm sorry, you're stupid. So carry on. Ben Affleck is not leaving the character of Batman. He signed a contract. He will be in these movies. So yeah. Anyway, I digress. Any actor trying to be the star of the movie and direct it, that's a lot for one person to take on. So
but he's done it. He's done it 3 times now, and it's been rather good every time.
Yes, but not a movie of this scale. You can't say that Live by Night or Argo are anywhere near the kind of scale that the Batman's going to be. There's no possible way.
Definitely not.
This movie is on a whole different kind of level than Ben Affleck has ever even been on. He even said that BVS was the first ridiculously big blockbuster film that he had done since Daredevil, which was in the 90s, I think, 99, right?
Was it? I thought it was.
Came out?
Something like that.
I thought it was early 2000s.
Either way, the movie sucked.
Maybe 2001 or something.
I think that's the reason why he left. I don't think it was WB, basically, trying to kick the door in and say, hey, come on, let's get this going. Honestly, I think the fans kind of did play a small part in him stepping down, just because they've been pestering that man ever since it was even the slightest rumor of him directing the movie. So not only do I think that he just kind of took a step back and realized, all right, maybe I shouldn't be directing this as well as much as I want to. It's not the best idea. Let me get somebody who can come in, work with the script that we have, and then deliver the movie, and I can focus on the acting. I can focus on helping produce the movie. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm not knocking anybody who thinks that WB played some kind of role in his departure from the director's chair. They very well may have had a hand in it, because it's WB, and they like to stick their sticky, disgusting little business fingers in things that they shouldn't. So, those are my thoughts on that.
I said.
Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
No, all right. Okay, I said what I said at the start, right, and my rant is over. And now I've had a good 3 minutes there to just sort of be a bit more logical about this thing. Okay, so is it bad that Ben Affleck has left? Yes, because if you do look at his previous films like Argo and the other ones he's directed that he's also starring, it's they've been great. So he can do it, but what I think Josh has kind of nailed it. This Batman film is going to be on a much larger scale than those films were, and to be able to you can act and direct something, like Chris Evans, right? He came out with his directorial debut Before We Go, right? That was last year, I think. He could star in that and direct that, but there's no way that he could star in and direct a Captain America movie, even if he was a more experienced director, because the scale of these films are so huge and there's so many pieces involved that it would just be an unbelievable workload. And was it 2 weeks ago on Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, Ben Affleck was like, yep, I'm going to direct it, yep, it's going to be great. But that kind of brings to question, did Ben Affleck know at that point that he wasn't going to direct it, and he just said
Yes.
that he was to sort of calm everyone down and just ride the waves? Like, how long has he known? How long has Warner Brothers known that he's not going to direct this film? I mean, you know, there are people that you can bring on. It doesn't have to be this like A-list director. It doesn't have to be an amazing director. It just has to be someone that is, you know, someone that can do the Batman well. It doesn't have to be someone, you know, you don't have to bring in like Steven Spielberg or, you know, Christopher Nolan. He wouldn't do this, but like, I'm just saying, you don't have to bring in a director of that caliber for the Batman film to be good. You just have to bring in someone that can do, you know, the tone of the Batman film, and who can, you know, someone who can come in and continue an already working script, because I believe like the story is, I'm guessing it's being written as we speak. I'm guessing it's not finished.
They're gonna keep Zack Snyder. Not Zack Snyder. They're gonna keep Ben Affleck's and Jeff Johns' script.
Yeah.
That's a given.
Yeah. So you just need a director who has, you know, preferably not a necessity, but someone who has done this before. Was it on the short list of directors? Was it Matthew Reeves has done that a few times? He's come into films where they've like already been written, and he's kind of carried it through.
I think maybe.
I'm not sure, honestly.
I think it's Matthew Reeves. There's one director, or there's maybe like one or two directors on that shortlist who have specifically come in on a number of projects, who have been on a number of projects that have, you know, been started before they came on board, and they've sort of finished it, and it ended up being really good. And I think Matthew Reeves was one of them. I don't know if he was the only one, but he was definitely one of them.
I agree with you on a couple points, but I still, whenever you say Ben Affleck, it's I understand this is a big blockbuster, and I can understand pressure from that. But this dude, whenever you are passionate about a project, and Ben Affleck has shown us that he is passionate about this project, you get it done. You don't just give it your all at first and then walk away because the pressure became too much, because you wanted to focus on a different part instead of doing this part. He's done it before. He's shown us the experience that he can do it. Blockbuster or not, the dude can direct and he can act at the same time. He's shown us. I really genuinely think that his message to the world is so everybody takes their hand away from the panic button, and they're like, okay. And now they're trying to tone it down a little bit today with all the Aquaman news, which Josh kind of pointed out to me. I thought it was funny, but I really do think that Ben Affleck he's in a very sore spot, I guess I'll say, right now, as far as it comes to directing and where they can go with this movie. But I want to ask you guys now, like, who are your picks to direct the Batman movie now that Ben Affleck isn't directing anymore?
See, okay, I might get some hate for this, but I thought of this last night. Believe it or not, I do, and I'm not about to say like Zack Snyder or anything like that, so I don't think I'm gonna say that.
If you say Kevin Smith.
No, that's a terrible choice.
Thank you.
Even Kevin Smith thinks so.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I honestly think that David Ayer could direct it. Now let me say why I think he could direct it, and actually do a very good job at it. With Suicide Squad, WB only gave David Ayer 6 weeks to write the script, right? 6
Correct.
or like 8 weeks to write.
Yeah,
the
6
script.
weeks.
Mm-hmm. Now that deals with, you know, creating the story, the plot, the dialogue, yada yada yada, making sure you make revisions, making sure that this thing doesn't suck. Unfortunately, it did, because I do believe they didn't give him enough time to actually make a quality film. The way the movie was shot, did it look good? Absolutely, I think so. I think it looked great. The movie just wasn't great. I think if you take the kind of way that Ayer directed Fury, which is a movie that is like one of my favorite war movies of all time. It's so good. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
Yes, it really
I think
is.
if he brings that kind of directing style to Batman, you have yourself an ace in the hole. Like that's I want to see that. So I think right now David Ayer is my top choice, and then of course you have names like Dan Trachtenberg or Matt Reeves. George Miller would also be an interesting choice. But if you had to ask me right now, I would say that my top choice would be David Ayer. And the thing is, the WB is going to look for an in-house director, a director who has directed a WB film in the past. So don't expect them to bring in somebody like Tim Miller or or Matthew Vaughn. So take those names and just throw them out the window because I don't think they're going to be anywhere near close to this project. So for me, David Ayer first, George Miller second, and then Matt Reeves and Dan Trachtenberg are tied for the next spot. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean,
David,
you've
I'm
got
curious
people
what
like,
think.
you said you've got people like Matthew Reeves. Yeah, I was just going to say, you got, Matthew Reeves, I think would be great. I mean, who was the guy that was going to direct The Flash?
Rick
What was his
Famuyiwa.
name? Rick?
Yeah, Rick
Yeah, I
Famuyiwa.
think he could have been pretty good. But then, if you're looking at the people who, like Josh said, have a previous existing relationship with Warner Brothers, you got people like I'm butchering his name, Denis Villeneuve, who did Arrival. I believe he's the one doing Blade Runner 2049 right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he's doing Blade Runner 2049, which is at Warner Brothers. So maybe they've got some kind of healthy relationship there. Who did the accountant, Gavin O'Connor? He's working.
Gavin O'Connor.
Was that Warner Brothers? Yeah, that was Warner Brothers, right? The accountant.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I think so. So you've got people like Gavin O'Connor, Denis Villeneuve, who have both put out some great films recently, who have a great relationship with Warner Brothers. Gavin O'Connor, who has worked with Ben Affleck very recently. Then you do also have people like your Matt Reeves, who have come in, who have entered pre-existing projects, when they're half finished. And the other name I said, Rick Famuyiwa, I think would have been interesting, but he's already to kind of turn down a DC property, so I would be very surprised if he was like, I'm not going to direct The Flash. Oh, Batman, I'll do that one. So I don't think that's going to happen, but those four that I mentioned, I think would be good choices.
My number one pick has to be Denis Villeneuve. I think that dude, he would bring it. And before Blade Runner 2049, I think the last WB one he did was Prisoners. I'm not 100% if that was Warner Brothers. I think it was. But
Either way, it was a good movie. I'll tell you
exactly,
that.
it's a freaking good movie, and he brings such a gritty.
Oh, the one with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, the one with Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman's in it.
Yeah. Was that Warner Brothers? Sorry, you can continue. I'm just trying to remember if that was actually Warner Brothers or not.
Yep, it was Warner Brothers.
It was okay, cool.
Cool.
But yeah, he just brings such a raw and grittiness, and such. Whenever you watch his movies like Sicario, almost throughout that entire movie and in Prisoners, you're just so tense the entire time. He has such a way of making you worried and scared for these characters, and so intense for what's going to happen next. I think that would be perfect in a Batman movie. I'd love to see him come and handle the Batman character, and I think he would too, because after Blade Runner 2049, he's going to be directing a Dune reboot, but I can almost guarantee he would be like, okay, Dune, pushing you back, Batman, come over here. I think it would be perfect. But I like the other one that you mentioned, David, was Gavin O'Connor. He directed Warrior, which if you haven't seen that, that's a fantastic movie, and The Accountant was also really good. So I think he would be a really good choice. Josh mentioned Dan Trachtenberg. I think he would be a really good one as well. And of course, everybody seems to be saying David Fincher, and as much as I would love that, because I love David Fincher, I doubt he would even do that movie.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, never.
Yeah,
dude.
it's not gonna happen.
But those are my number one is definitely Denis Villeneuve. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say as far as who else they should pick as a director. Do you guys have any more comments on that?
I do. I mean,
How
I
much
noticed
involvement
we
in-
have no love for my man's David Ayer, but it's okay.
I mean, see, David Ayer gets a super bad rap because of Suicide Squad, but if you haven't seen End of Watch or Fury, definitely go check those out, because those are both great movies.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But yeah.
Yep.
I guess that is it. Unless you guys have anything else to add?
I mean, Ben Affleck, in his quote, did he not say he was looking? Did he not mention like a partner in a director or
Yeah,
something?
he said partner.
So do you think Ben Affleck is going to be do you think Ben Affleck is still going to be involved in some way, but just not as a sole director?
So like co-directing?
I think what Ben
yeah,
Affleck,
kind of, or maybe
I
they're going
think
to have
what
like
Ben
a kind
Affleck's
of.
going to be doing
I think
is I think he's gonna play like a sort of Ryan Reynolds Deadpool role. He's not going to be directing, but he's going to be heavily involved because he has done a lot with this project so far, and I'm sure he doesn't want another Batman v Superman incident, because we could see how he was reacting in interviews and stuff. But I do want to say, as far as, still commenting on the directors, this just popped in my mind, I do think they need a director that people know. And by, maybe not by name, but maybe just know the movie. Like you say, oh, he directed so-and-so. They'll be like, oh, really? So I think they need a director that, because people right now, what David and I were saying at the beginning of this was, Ben Affleck, we have Ben Affleck directing The Batman, and that's like our last hope, right? Well, now that's gone, and now we need somebody else to come and step in that's going to give us that equal amount of hope. A director that's going to come in and people are going to be like, yes! Maybe, just maybe, they can put this thing on the right track again. So I think they need somebody good and that people are going to get excited for again. Because right now, I don't think many people are excited for the DCEU's future.
Yeah, I think 2018 is safe to kind of put it in that ballpark of 2018. That I don't think we're going to see this film in like 2019 or 2020. I think that's a bit.
I think it'll
ridiculous.
be late 2018
not at
when
all.
the movie comes out.
I don't think so.
In the past, Warner Brothers has done a lot of sort of shifting around with release dates and when they finish films versus when they release films. Because Batman v Superman was done, it was finished in early mid 2015. It was like they had finished filming and everything by like sort of mid 2015, but they chose to wait until 2016 to put it out there. And I don't know, and that's part of the reason why I think, why I am slightly apprehensive about Justice League, because they didn't really leave enough time to sort of fix the problems that they had with Batman v Superman in Justice League. Like, by the time Batman v Superman came out, and then all the critics and all the fans were reacting, or a lot of critics and all the fans were reacting quite harshly to it, and then what was it, like a couple of months after, or like a month or something, they started filming Justice League, and it's like, well, are we going to have those same problems? Because it doesn't seem like you've left yourselves enough time to fix the problems that were in Batman v Superman with the flow and all that kind of stuff. Like, the teaser for...
No, they didn't start filming BVS a week after. They didn't start filming Justice League a week after BVS came out. It was a few months before they started.
It was a couple of months. Yeah, did I say a week?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I meant like a month or like a couple of months. So I'm just like, the teaser that they got, the teaser that we got for Justice League, I think looked great, but I'm just, the only thing that's sort of making me apprehensive about it is the fact that they didn't seem to leave themselves a lot of time to fix some of the problems from Batman v Superman. But hopefully they've learned and hopefully they worked it out, and we'll see in November.
I guess all we can do now is just sit back and wait, just like we do with everything else when it comes to DC. Like I said, I think they need to kind of release something and say something soon, some kind of statement, put out another one of those specials, let people know what's going on, because there are a lot of scary DC fans out here. But your boy's not one of them. I think, I already said my thoughts on the whole situation, but I think, there are people out there that are just a little kind of worried about what's going on. So hopefully something happens soon. We get some more good news. It's been a pretty good news for DC so far today. We got some Aquaman news that we'll talk about in our regular episode. But yeah, Colin, where can people find you at on Twitter?
You guys can find me at Colin_Sap, and be sure to go check out my short film that I released last Saturday at 128 Productions. You can find a link there on the Twitter. It's called Hide and Seek. Be sure to go check it out, like it, comment below, let us know what you think, and subscribe.
Word. David?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Get Your Shit Together DC. No, I just David Hutchison _ on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay. You can find me on Twitter at Dark Knight of Rens, 1K for the dark and the night. You can find me on Instagram at DCU News. And as always, keep it locked to thedropnews.com for the latest news and everything you love. See you guys later. Peace.